Royal weddings are supposed to mean million-dollar rings, massive diamonds, priceless heirlooms, gems straight from palace vaults, right? But some didn't. Some of the most famous royal brides walked down the aisle wearing rings that cost less than a designer handbag. One chose a simple band worth a few $100s. Another ring was cheaper than an iPhone. And one, it wasn't even gold. So which bride wore the cheapest royal wedding ring of all? And what was the price of those rings? These are 12 royals who chose the cheapest wedding rings. At number 12, we have Princess Marie of Denmark's wedding ring. For Princess Marie, the wedding ring was chosen that was rich in symbolism, yet not outrageously expensive. According to Prince Scope, Joachim proposed to Marie in 2007 with a custom ring featuring 3 stones, a diamond at the center flanked by a ruby and a sapphire. An interesting choice. The colors red, white, and blue subtly combine the flags of France and Denmark. This patriotic and personal touch mirrored the approach taken with Crown Princess Mary's ring, but Joachim's version for Marie was a bit smaller in scale. Her ring choice can be viewed in the light of her and Joachim's circumstances. As this was Joachim's second marriage, there may have been a conscious decision to not overspend or overdo the ring. Additionally, Joachim is not the heir to the throne and has more limited public role than his elder brother. So a relatively quote-unquote cheap ring was picked as a practical choice, but it also fit Marie's persona. Marie, like her sister-in-law Mary, was a commoner who has since become known for her approachable, friendly style. She doesn't wear extremely large jewelry pieces. In fact, she often opts for delicate necklaces or subtle earrings at events. This is the reason why Marie's ring came at a far lower cost than Joachim's first wife's ring. Sources indicate that the ring was quote-unquote said to have cost around $34,000. Hang on, it gets better. At number 11, we have Queen Mary of Denmark's wedding ring. Australian-born Mary Donaldson received a wedding ring that was meaningful yet not extravagantly priced compared to many other royal rings. According to Who, What, When, the then Crown Prince Frederick proposed in 2003, he presented Mary with a unique ring featuring a central emerald-cut diamond and 2 emerald-cut rubies, one on each side. The rubies, red in color alongside the white diamond, symbolize the red and white Danish flag, a patriotic touch that captured hearts. While the design was certainly beautiful and custom, the gems themselves were of moderate size. Mary's ring choice reflects her and Frederick's balanced approach to tradition and modernity. The ring wasn't about flaunting a huge rock, it was about telling a story. Denmark welcoming a foreign commoner with symbols of national pride on her hand. Mary's personal style is often lauded for its elegance and restraint. She dresses impeccably, but not gaudily, mixing high street with designer, rear-wearing outfits and supporting sustainable fashion. A moderately sized ring fits that ethos, we believe. It's significant enough to be regal, but not an over-the-top show of wealth. In fact, Mary has been seen wearing a ring alongside her wedding band and eternity band, creating a stacked look that is sophisticated yet not flashy. Jewelry experts estimate the original ring cost roughly around $25,000, quite cheap in the realm of royal wedding rings. Next, we have Alexandra, Countess of Frederiksberg's wedding ring. When Prince Joachim of Denmark's first married in 1995, he chose a ring for his bride to be Alexandra Manley that was both symbolic and relatively modest. According to Glamour, the ring featured a classic trio of stones, a central diamond flanked by a ruby on one side and another ruby on the other. The red and white motif nodded to the Denmark's flag. The ring, while undoubtedly lovely, was not a massive showpiece. The diamonds and rubies were of reasonable size, but not huge. Photos revealed that the ring sits daintily on her finger, not dominating. The elegance and restraint of the ring matched Princess Alexandra's persona. Alexandra, born in Hong Kong of mixed European-Asian heritage, was a marketing executive when she met Joachim in the first place. She carried herself with poise and sophistication, but also a certain simplicity, you could say, that charmed the Danish people. The 3 stones design is timeless and not overly flashy, much like Alexandra's fashion sets. She often wore minimalistic, chic outfits that was dubbed one of the most stylish royals of all time, favoring clean lines over excessive frills. Her wedding ring complemented this aesthetic. Classic with a pop of color from the rubies just to keep it interesting. The components of the ring suggest the cost well below a 6-figure range. Likely Joachim spent around $20,000, making it a thoughtful yet comparatively frugal royal wedding ring. The next one bride broke tradition completely. Another wore a ring with no center stone. And one, her band looked more like a modern art piece than royalty. At number 9, we have Princess Mabel of Orange Nassau's wedding ring. When Dutch Prince, now late Frezzo, married Mabel Weiss Schmidt in 2003, He presented her with a ring as non-traditional as the couple themselves. According to Glamour, rather than the classic solitaire or big colored stone, Mabel's ring was a wide band composed of numerous small, loosely set diamonds. Essentially, it looked like a sparkling ribbon of tiny stones encircling her finger. This creative design surely carried a cost. Diamonds, however small, do add up, but without a central large diamond, the price stayed relatively modest by royal standards. The ring's distinctive style mirrors Prince Mabel's own reputation as a maverick. Mabel, a human rights activist and intellectual, was never a conventional royal bride. In fact, Frizzo's marriage to her was controversial enough that he gave up his claim to the throne to marry her. Such an unorthodox love story benefits an unorthodox ring, you have to agree. Mabel's diamond band ring set her apart from day one. It wasn't trying to emulate the grand rings of Queen Maxima or other princesses of the past. It was its own modern statement. Mabel has always had a quirky sense of fashion, and the ring echoed that eclecticism. Jewelers speculate that the total cost of carat weight was not very high, meaning the ring's value was around $15,000, far less than the 6 or 7-figure sums many royal rings command. Next, we have Princess Tatiana of Greece and Denmark's wedding ring. When Princess Nicholas of Greece decided to marry Tatiana Blatnik in 2009, he didn't purchase a flashy new diamond. Instead, he turned to his mother for help. Nicholas used a sapphire that was a gift from his mother, Queen Mette-Marit of Greece, as the center of Tatiana's wedding ring, and it was then surrounded by a halo of small diamonds. In doing so, he created a piece that was both budget-friendly and deeply meaningful. The sapphire's size was notable but not enormous, and the tiny diamonds encircling it added sparkle without hefty cost. This choice resonated on multiple levels. For one, it established a connection between Tatiana and the Greece's royal family legacy. Queen Anne-Marie gifting a sapphire for the ring was symbolic of her welcoming Tatiana as a daughter-in-law. For Tatiana, who was born in Venezuela and raised in Europe, marrying into an exiled royal family, the ring underscored continuity and acceptance. Essentially, by repurposing a family-owned sapphire, the Prince avoided the major expense of buying a large gemstone. The resulting ring likely cost only the jeweler's work and the small diamonds, a relatively modest price for a royal wedding price. It was estimated that the price of this ring was around $10,000. All in all, Princess Tatiana's wedding ring exemplifies how a royal couple can keep costs low and sentiment high. At number 7, we have Princess Laurentien of the Netherlands' wedding ring. Took a rather flexible path with her wedding jewelry, one that effectively avoided any exorbitant ring purchase. According to Glamour, when Constantin and Laurentien Brinkhouse married in 2001, sources noted that her wedding day featured a sapphire set and a simple design. However, she has been switching rings over the years, suggesting she never settled on a single iconic ring. This suggests that she does not consistently wear one dedicated wedding ring. Instead, she sometimes wears a sapphire ring. Other times, stacks it with additional bands, and on occasion dons entirely different rings or just her wedding band. In practical terms, this means Prince Constantin likely did not break the bank on a massive diamond ring for a proposal. This unusual approach fits Princess Laurentien's personality to a T. She's an accomplished professional with a creative streak. Her fashion sense is sometimes described as unconventional. She might wear bold colors, funky glasses, and statement necklaces, etc., and not being tied to any one flashy ring allowed her to treat her jewelry more like an accessory to her rather than a sacred cow. This mindset inherently keeps costs down. Also, the ring was tasteful and not oversized, likely costing around $8,000, we presume. And with Laurentien's habit of rotating rings, it means she didn't demand an ultra-fancy rock to wear permanently. These next 3 brides made headlines. One refused a sapphire, one barely wore hers at all, and the last, her ring rotated like an accessory. Next, we have Prince Claire of Belgium's wedding ring. Princess Claire, wife of Prince Laurent of Belgium, sports a wedding ring that is charmingly traditional and comparatively thrifty for a royal. According to Glamour, when Claire became engaged to King Albert II's younger son in 2003, she received a round-cut diamond solitaire set on a yellow band, paired later with a plain gold wedding ring. The diamond in question, as seen in photos, is not an enormous stone, likely well under 1 carat. It's a ring design that you might find at any local jeweler, simple, elegant, and far from exorbitant. You have to agree. This cheaper ring choice aligns nicely with who Princess Claire is. Before marrying into royalty, you have to remember Claire was a land surveyor, a professional in a practical field, and she has always been described as down-to-earth. She and the prince, known even more informally, even cheeky as members of the Belgian royal clan, have aimed for a family-oriented and relatively normal life. Claire's jewelry style tends to be subdued. She isn't one to be marked in the headlines for dripping in diamonds. Given its unassuming size and the choice of gold setting, one can infer the ring's cost was relatively low. The price of the ring at the time was somewhere around $5,000, a drop in the bucket compared to the six-figure royal wedding rings of some Claire's peers. At number 5, we have Infanta Cristina of Spain's wedding ring. Infanta Cristina, the younger daughter of Spain's King Juan Carlos, surprised many when she received a wedding ring that was understated and inexpensive by royal standards. Upon her engagement in 1997 to former Olympian Inaki Undungari, Cristina wore a simple diamond eternity band, essentially a narrow ring set in all around with small diamonds. There was no large center stone at all. This type of ring is elegant but often given as an anniversary or wedding band in many cases as a wedding ring for a princess. It was decidedly untraditional. Why this choice? Several factors could have played a role. Cristina is often considered the most low-key of Juan Carlos's children and was never one to chase glamour. She pursued a career at the Letizia Foundation and had a reputation for diligence and modesty. Inaki, while a celebrated handball player, was not a billionaire aristocrat. He was a sportsman from a middle-class background. A simple ring might have felt appropriate for both of them, avoiding any appearance that Inaki was buying a princess with a huge diamond. Additionally, Spanish royalty tradition does not put as much emphasis on flashy wedding rings as, say, the British traditions. So the cost of such a ring was quite modest. According to Spanish media reports, the price of this ring was around $4,000. Next, we have Queen Letizia of Spain's wedding ring, and one of my favorites. Queen Letizia's wedding ring is famously modest, especially for a future queen. When then Crown Prince Philippe of Spain proposed to Letizia Ortiz in 2003, he surprised many by not opting for a solitaire or family heirloom. According to court jeweler, he instead offered Letizia a sleek white gold band channel set and 16 baguette-cut diamonds of all equal size. In essence, it's an eternity-style ring with diamonds embedded around the band's circumference. The design was modern, clean, and restrained, quite fitting for Letizia, a former award-winning journalist known for her contemporary style. The choice of this ring speaks volumes about Philippe and Letizia's approach. Philippe likely wanted to break some traditions, perhaps even avoiding comparisons to his sister's rings or his mother's jewels. The ring's simplicity kept the wedding secret until it was announced. It also symbolized Letizia's own understated elegance. She was a career woman with a polished but not extravagant look. A giant rock might have felt out of character, therefore. Moreover, Letizia was a divorcee, and there's speculation that they consciously kept things low-key in terms of the ring and the proposal. So Philippe's choice was within the realm of accepted norms for the Spanish royal family. The ring was crafted by Suarez, a Spanish jeweler, and was reportedly very affordable by royal standards. At least, Spanish media indicated that the price was maybe. The final brides made shocking choices. One refused an heirloom, one picked plain gold, and one, her ring cost nothing, but spoke louder than diamonds. At number 3, we have Princess Birgitta of Sweden's wedding ring. Princess Birgitta, one of King Carl Gustaf's elder sisters, provides another example of Sweden's frugal ring tradition. When Birgitta became engaged to Prince Johan George of Hohenzollern in 1960, the couple announced their wedding with a humble gold ring in lieu of a diamond solitaire. This unadorned band, completely devoid of gems, was entirely keeping with Swedish royal customs at the time. At first glance, the choice of such a modest ring for a princess might seem surprising, especially since she was marrying into a prominent German princely family. However, the Swedish royal family in the mid-20th century prioritized restraint and tradition. Birgitta's parents have also favored simple wedding rings. By following suit, Birgitta honored their heritage. The ring's plainness actually highlighted the importance of the marriage over jewelry. For a princess known to have a sporty, no-nonsense personality, Birgitta famously loved golf and sunshine, later settling in Majorca. The fuss-free ring suited her character. Also, over the years, Princess Birgitta's personal style remained relatively low-key. She didn't pile on extravagant jewels, often preferring a casual chic look appropriate for her island lifestyle. In that context, the slim gold engagement ring, which she continued to wear alongside her wedding ring, seemed natural and authentic for her. It cost $700, making it one of the cheapest royal wedding rings on record. Next, Princess Desiree of Sweden's wedding ring. Another Swedish royal who embraced frugal ring tradition is Princess Desiree. Baroness Silver is her eldest, the third of the 4 famed Haga princesses. Desiree followed in her siblings' footsteps when it came to wedding jewelry. When she became to Baron Nils in 1964, there was no sumptuous diamond presented. According to Hello magazine, Desiree instead received a plain gold band to mark the promise of marriage consistent with the long-standing practice along Swedish royalty. For Princess Desiree, the simple ring made perfect sense. She was known as the most low-profile of the sisters, a gentle private woman who happily stepped out of the spotlight to live in the country life. After a royal wedding in 1964, Desiree settled on her husband's estate and focused on family and local charitable activities rather than glamorous royal duties. A modest ring fits this lifestyle. It wasn't something to show off, but rather a personal token of love that she could wear every day while tending to her home and children without worry. In fact, photographs from her wedding show Desiree wearing just a thin band on her left hand, nearly indistinguishable from an ordinary Swedish bride's ring. The ring, essentially just a polished loop of gold, was estimated at a few $100s, which any young couple of the era could afford, a similar one. And at number 1, we have Princess Mette-Marit of Norway's wedding ring. When Norway's crown prince Khan announced his wedding to Mette-Marit to Jussim Højby in 2000, keen-eyed royal watchers recognized the ring on Mette-Marit's hand. Websites like Royal Central believes that it's the same ring that Queen Sandra received in 1968, a symbolic gesture that likely meant far more than any new diamond. For the princess, a former single mother with a modest background, the hand-me-down carried a powerful message of acceptance. She had faced intense public scrutiny due to her past, but receiving Queen Sandra's own wedding ring was a clear sign that the royal family embraced her. The ring linked her to the beloved Sandra and the late Princess Martha. This gesture likely meant far more to Mette-Marit than any brand new jewelry could. It also suited personal ethos. Mette-Marit has always projected an unassuming, empathetic persona. She often repeats outfits, wears Scandinavian minimalistic designs, and isn't draped in excessive jewelry at any time. Wearing a pre-loved ring aligned perfectly with her down-to-earth style. Rather than commission a brand new sparkler, Hakan honored a family tradition by proposing with his heirloom piece, meaning that Mette-Marit's wedding ring literally cost nothing to acquire. In an era where European crown princes are splurging on custom diamond rings, Hakan's choice was strikingly frugal. Although the ring cost $0 for her, its true value lay in symbolism. With this, we end today's video. We'll be back with another video shortly. Until then, happy watching and do subscribe to our channel if you still haven't.